Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the P-LotPodcast. John here, joined once again by the cuz Michael
It is
and
a
Solo.
beautiful
How are we
morning.
doing? Yes.
It is a beautiful morning. Let's even take a step back from things that personally matter to the Philadelphia sports world. And it's week one of college football. This is a wonderful
Mhm.
time of the year. It's really the official kickoff into football season. We had week 0 last week with that banger of a game in Dublin. And this week, so far, games been pretty good. We had good games on Thursday. We had good games on Friday yet last night. Colorado and um, Georgia Tech was a quite a good finish among some other games were pretty good last night. And in just a couple hours, big noon kickoff, we have the defending national champions Ohio State Buckeyes hosting Arch Manning and the number one ranked Texas. So yeah, that'll also be quite a good start to everyone's Saturday for sure. So yeah, that's a very fun time. And then what started out as a pretty miserable week for the Philadelphia sports fandom has, over the last 2 days, really blossomed into what I would say it's a pretty nice week. I'd call this week a net positive as a Philadelphia sports fan.
I would say so. I would
So
agree with you
far,
on
it's
that.
on the way at least.
So yeah, let's just Mike, we were texting back and forth when the Phillies were playing the Mets, going like, okay, we're going to talk about the Phillies 10 to 15 minutes today because we have a lot of football to talk about. Let's hope they don't get swept because then it's just going to be like, we're going to be, enraged and all
Hmm.
annoyed and like, the meme of like the meme of like the mother where she's like, why can't you just be normal? And like the baby's like screaming in the back seat.
Yeah, in
Like
in
that's
the
literally like kind of
Babadook.
that's exactly what it was. And
Yeah.
the Phillies got okay, so we'll just dive right into it. We got to get moving. Phillies big 3 game series to start the week. Phillies were up, I believe, 7 or 8. Were they 8 games up in the division entering Monday, Michael? I believe
It
so.
was it was it was 7. It
7,
was
and
7.
then the Phillies. I don't want to say they could have buried the Mets per se, but like if you would have taken 2 or 3, then you really put a lot of pressure on them for the division. And plus, the Mets are battling for a wild card
It
spot too.
would have been pretty much a bit if they won the series, heaven forbid it swept them, um, it would have been pretty much a burying because I think it would have been a
I'll be right back,
mental.
Michael. Okay.
Sure, yeah. It would have been a mental step on your throat as much as it would have been like a physical one for the Phillies. You're up 7 games and you go into someone else's stadium and you kind of flex your guns about how good you are. You would think that that kind of puts a stamp on it. If they picked up a game by taking 2 or 3 and went up 8 games, you would have felt pretty confident. You sweep them and you go up um, 10 games, that would have been pretty big. But unfortunately, the worst case scenario for the Phillies did occur where they did get swept. They didn't even just lose 2 or 3, they got swept. And it's become a house of horrors for them over the last 3 years. They've been very much a bad team at Citi Field in the last 3 years. I think now each of the last 4 seasons, I keep saying 3 years, it's 4 seasons since 2022. So each of the last 4 seasons, including this one, the Phillies have been swept at Citi Field. They got swept once in 2022. They got swept once in 2023. Obviously, last year was a disaster in Citi Field. And this year they've been swept twice in Citi Field. So unideal for sure. Um, but me personally, I'm really not like it's very annoying. It's super infuriating. It's super frustrating. Like, cannot emphasize enough how much it does piss me off to watch Nimmo and Alonso and all those guys and Vientos and their fans. It's so infuriating. It really, really is aggravating. But all that being said, I'm not like pressing the panic button, worried, like, I don't know. A lot of this fan base, after they swept the Mariners in what was their best series of, like, the history of the franchise, were saying, "This team is different. It's Wentz with Wheeler all over again. They are, fighting for each other now. They're not afraid. Like, this is it. They can finally show us what they can show us." And then this happens, and it's like, same old effing team. This is what, like, well, who cares? We all know how this is gonna end. It doesn't matter. They have no heart, they have no guts, they have no nothing. And it's just, the people that live and die like that with this team that, like, consistently makes the playoffs, that's pretty frustrating. That was pretty normal to do, I'd say, from like 2019 to 2021 with the Phillies, because we didn't know if they were gonna make the playoffs every year, and it did feel like you lived and died by every series, because when they were good, it was like, "Oh my god, they're finally gonna make the playoffs," and then it was bad, and it was like, "Oh my god, this is the worst thing ever."
Well,
We're like,
social media,
now,
like people
we know
talk
we're in
about.
there.
I mean, I lived through the two golden eras of Phillies baseball in our lifetimes, and like I think a lot of people forget like the '07, '08 Phillies, like they would lose to the Mets. It was when like the games mattered the most was when they would beat them in
It's
September.
also, yeah, like,
And the
they act like
Phillies
those
play the
teams.
Mets in September. That's the key though. That's
They acted like they never lost, those teams. Like, those teams never went on
because they
losing
won a World
streaks or
Series. Like, dude,
whatever.
if the Phillies
Yeah,
win the
like,
World Series this year, no one's going to care about them getting swept by the Mets in mid-August. We'll joke about it. It would be like, oh,
sure.
Remember when Bohm
Was
uh, got
complaining about the microphone.
complained about the microphones in center field? Right?
Yeah,
Exactly. How
remember.
here? This
Yeah.
is though. Like, I will say this though. Like, big picture though, with that series is City Field's like a house of horrors for them. There's like, I feel like every team in every sport has at least one place they just can't win at. Doesn't matter the situation, doesn't matter like the teams, the coaches, or even the era, man. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers haven't won a game in Philadelphia since like 19 like some like crazy like long amount of time. Even though they play in different conferences, it's just I think it's just frustrating, really frustrating because it is the New York Mets.
Well,
It's not like not the
yeah, go ahead.
Arizona Cardinals or like even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's the Mets.
It's frustrating when it's baseball because you play them 3 games in a row. It's like easily the most frustrating one to live through. Like, because the Flyers can't win in MSG against the Rangers. That's, like, multiple times a year, but it's, like, once every couple months, and it's like, "Oh god, here we go again, we lose," and it's like, ugh, frustrating. Or the Eagles, when they used to lose the Cardinals all the time, it was like, it was maybe once a year, depending on how the schedule shook out. The Sixers up in Boston, yeah, it's multiple times a year, but again, it's spaced out. Or like when you lose and when you're getting hammered in baseball and you get swept, dude, that sucks, man. It is easily the most frustrating one to actually sit through and watch. And honestly, it felt like that this Phillies and Mets series had the biggest, like, grab of Philadelphia sports attention since the Super Bowl. Like, it feels like everyone in the city watched this series and they got swept, of course. But listen, does everyone feel a little bit better that they hammered the Braves and Schwarber hit 4 home runs and a very historical feat that deserves to be celebrated? It just gets to a point sometimes where they're on the road and it feels like they're like, I just want to get home. I just want to go home. I want to be home again. That's all I want to happen. And then they get home, and what looked like it could have been a NOLA disaster turned into him actually settling in and giving you a very solid start, and then obviously the offense put up 19 runs, and that was pretty cool.
It did feel like so. I was at McGurk's with a bunch of my friends, and then watching the beginning
Nice.
when it was in the first sitting when it was like 3-0. I was just
I was
like,
a little sick, I have
I
to
was
say.
like, I was like, oh no, here we go again. Like,
Because my fear was I felt that they were gonna score, but my fear was like, "Okay, they're gonna tie it or even take the lead within, like, an inning or 2." And then I was scared Aaron was gonna give it back, and it was gonna be like, "Okay, well, now we're down 6-5," and it's like, now he's given up
Because
6 runs in
the
2
bullpen's
1/3.
already had a lot of work in the Mets series.
Yeah, your starters did not
So
go
you
deep
don't want to
for
have
you.
Aaron Nola go out there and just get shelled.
No, and he bared down. Listen, I think he's gonna be fine. I think where we're gonna get is, like, it's hard to describe what version of Nola, but it's like it's kinda like a little piece of all the years. The velocity seems back. He's n like, if he's gonna be on, it's gonna be on. He's gonna be susceptible to the homer. He's, like, fully reliant on his command as, like, usual, but I don't know, it just I feel like he's gonna be fine is how I feel. Point in saying all of this, and, like, obviously, it's August 30th, we're not even in September yet. The fact of the matter is, with the Phillies is if they can hit in October, they're gonna go on a run. If they can't hit in October, then they're gonna fall flat on their face, and we're gonna see what we've seen, a couple times now, and it's like
Well, it's going to be worse. See, this is the problem, Michael. Is so we'll wrap up baseball and then we can jump over to all the football we got to talk about. Schwarber's a free agent. Ranger's a free agent. JT's a free agent. Zach Wheeler, like I'm optimistic, but there's still the possibility that this blood clot could, like, if he has thoracic outlet syndrome, we saw it with Vince Velasquez, how like that messed up his career.
listen, yeah, I this does feel like it's it, in terms of, like, one last push with this specific group, yes. However, I guess my point in saying what I did was, like, there's no clear favorite in both leagues. Like, there's not one there's no the Dodgers are not
Oh,
what
I
they were
agree.
last year,
There's no clear
and it's
favorite.
like they there is very little, I think, that this next month is gonna show me, you, or anybody to make us, like, 100% confident that they are going to, or even are not going to, hit in October, and, like, that's what it comes down to. We feel as though the pitching is gonna be good enough. Maybe it's not gonna be the best it's ever been without Wheeler, but it's still probably gonna be really, really good and definitely good enough to win a bunch of games. It's just a matter of if they hit, and it's like, I feel like they can definitely hit. We know they can hit in the playoffs. We've seen them hit in the playoffs before, and we've seen this lineup, like, as is, go on these runs of being able to hit and score runs and get on base and whatever. It's just a matter of, are they gonna do it? And I don't think there's anything that will happen or could happen to make us fully believe it. So we're just going to have to watch and enjoy and sweat out this September of baseball where we push for the division, push for a top seed, and when the playoffs roll around, we're just gonna have to be excited and hope. And like that's just what it is. I don't think this is like it's definitely not the Eagles of this year where it was like we knew they were just better than pretty much everybody. And as long as they didn't play like out of character, things were going to end up really well. Um, it's just a matter of like, are they gonna hit? And I feel like that's all every year with every team ever in baseball. We like to act like this team is so different or whatever. Like we're the only team ever to have a team that can go cold in an instant. I feel like that's how every team loses in the playoffs. Basically, every team loses because the bats went cold at the wrong time. So it, I think people act like this Phillies team is so like specifically polarizing when I just feel like
Well,
they're a
I
very
think this really,
normal, really
I
good
think
team.
definitely this year now they're capable of hitting because JT's bat is back. That's a big one. Boom. I mean, Alec
Trey's
is,
having his best year as a
yeah, that's
Philly,
my, it would be like,
Schwarber.
it would like last year. I thought it was like a skill issue because it was like Alec looked completely lost. Boom, looked lost
It's
the
the second
play.
half, yeah.
Like JT looked like I thought he was washed up because I was like, he had a knee injury, he had surgery, he looks cooked, and you're like, oh, he's basically going to be Yadi Molina, defense
Mhm.
guy that can't hit. I mean, the
Right,
guy
and it's,
they added. I mean, like Bader's got an 890 OPS since joining the Phillies. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. The
Yeah.
analytics don't back it up. Like it doesn't make sense, which is it's an anomaly, which is great, Michael, because we got so many guys on this team that like have good like savants, but they like the numbers don't like back it up. So you know what? Let's have
Mhm.
a guy who's having a great year with the savant numbers don't back it up. Why not? Why can't we have that? Why is it always like Kepler hits 108
The
mile
other way.
rockets that are out?
Yeah.
That are
No, it's
out.
super frustrating. But listen, man, we'll be seeing. We'll be talking about the Phillies every week from here on out, and we will be seeing what the vibes are in about a month. And it is what it is. Like I'm excited for this playoff run eventually.
Can
I
we just
believe in this
talk
team,
very
you know.
briefly about Thursday instead of just us complaining or talk about negative stuff? I just want to talk, then we'll do football.
Yeah.
So, watching Schwarber's 4 home run game, it's really rare to see someone actually legitimately have a shot at hitting 5 home runs in a game. Usually, you get the fourth one on your last at
Hmm.
bat.
Yeah.
If he would have gotten the fifth home run off of a position player, would that have been like an asterisk, you think?
No, because Otani in his greatest day of the history of the sport, hitting his 50th home run
That's just
with
hitting his 50th parlay.
five extra base hits or whatever. Like the last home run was off a position player. No one talks about that. I don't think it would have been an asterisk. I'm sorry, man. What guy is gonna have 5 opportunities or have an opportunity to his fifth home run and like there's gonna be a real pitcher in the game? It just doesn't happen. There's no way that you're having a guy hit 4 home runs and the game's like tight by the time he's coming up for his, especially because if he's coming up for his fifth, that means odds are he's probably already like 4 for 5 with 4 home runs. It's very rare to go, 4 for 4 with 4 home runs and you're getting your fifth at bat and that's it. Like usually it takes another at bat. So if you're 4 for 4 with 4 home runs and it's like a 6-6 ball game and you come up again for your like sure, I guess that's cooler or whatever because the game was tighter, but that feels 10 times more rare to even then just come up with for a chance for your fifth. And listen, he just missed it. He really did just miss it. And I think that was what screwed
Because it
him
was an
up because he was
ethos. Like that's
well, he was up there trying. I think of all the at bats, he was like, that was the one I was like legitimately just trying to hit a home run. And like you psych yourself out with that, like trying to hit a homer, you know, when it's not like it's an eephus, but it wasn't batting practice. It wasn't like the swing off in the home run derby
well, not
where
just that too, bro.
or
Like,
the all-star
well,
game,
no,
I
bro.
mean.
If you think about it, like you're going up there seeing 98, 99 the whole game. Now they're bringing
Hmm.
up a guy that can only throw out like 55 miles an hour, but like he's literally like soft tossing it up there because he's not a pitcher. And then you have to
Hmm.
like adjust to that, and plus like you're blowing them out too. So at the same time, it's like the unwritten rules of baseball. Like, do you remember when Tatis hit that grand slam and they were just giving him tons of crap for it
Yeah. Which
for no
like,
for no reason?
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, it's like Schwarber doesn't go up. I don't think he goes up to the plate to try to hit home runs. It does sound kind of dumb. He doesn't go up there to try to hit home runs. He goes up there to square up the ball. That's different.
Hmm.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was crazy. Like that third home run that he poked out in the left field, like that was probably the most impressive of all the home runs.
I mean, that's just his pure physical strength. I mean, what he did was extremely historic. It's weird that did the Phillies have the most like 4 home run hitters in the history? Because it
Yes.
doesn't happen very often. But this is what their fourth guy to do it. Like that's really
So I,
impressive.
I I saw Ed Delahanty, Chuck Klein,
And
Mike
Schmidt
Schmidt,
and Schwarber
and
now.
Kyle Schwarber. And Ed
Awesome.
Delahanty did it like in the 1890s. Two of them were inside the park home runs.
If you ever want to like laugh at just like how unserious things used to be in the world, go just read up like biographical information and like life story information on Ed Delahanty or Delahanty, whatever. Everything about him is like hilarious. It's really really unserious the way that people used to just live in like the 1890s, especially professional athletes, I guess. But yeah, super historic night, deserves its flowers. Shout out Kyle Schwarber, man. He is incredible. And then last night, when you gotta, which everyone knew was going to happen, is they were going to struggle to score runs last night, of course, and
Jeez,
they got it
sound
out.
like your sound like your father.
They continue to be like a a very pesky team in seventh inning or later situations, late and close situations. They've done it all year. They scored some of the most runs in baseball, seventh inning or later. And even when it's just one, it's just they have really good at bats down the stretch usually, like Sam's this Mets series. But Schwarber getting on base with a little bloop single, Bryce finding a hole with the dribbler, and Bohm does a job with the sac fly. You just can't ask for like a ton more when you just need to get a run. And then Duran looked like himself. His splitter looked like it had a lot more bite last night. So yeah, shout out the guys. Two of the first four
Here's a
against the
stat for
Braves.
you. Here's a stat for you this season. The Phillies are 37 and 37 this year in one-run games. There's 74 one-run games. There's a figure that leads Major League Baseball.
In one-run games?
Like they've played the most, they're tied for the most one-run game situations.
You're asking me who this is?
No, I'm saying they are.
Oh, okay, okay.
They're
The Phillies
500.
are.
They're 500. At the Phillies are 71 and 45 when they score more than one run in a game.
That's a pretty remarkable stat. I mean, the Phillies are
So
what? Like they have 2 losses when leading after 8 innings this year, or 3 maybe. I think that's pretty good. Um,
yes,
for everyone that complained about the bullpen so much before Duran. Um, so anyways, Mets series was a disaster. I want to kind of forget about it, and I would
you know what I
love
don't
to
want to forget
sweep the
about
Braves, but week 1,
picking the
I
NFL
guess.
awards.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So let's get into the awards. We have a slew of awards to pick from, including a
Mhm.
new one, the Protector of the Year. How about that? That's fun.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
We should honor the best. That'd be kind of cool if we had an award to who's the best offensive lineman.
I do think it's already going to be a bit skewed because of the name Protector of the Year. It feels like it's going to very strongly favor
Left tackle.
pass protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, pass protection, and in turn, like definitely tackles versus
Do you
like
think?
interior offensive linemen. But
Well, I mean, like people talked about Kelsey was like, oh, he's the best.
yeah, but
Well, I
like,
don't know. It's gonna. I think it's gonna be centers or like left tackles because the center.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily gonna be left.
I
Like,
mean,
to
the
be
center
honest, I
is
think
like
the two
the
favorites are
most
right
important
tackles.
position on your offensive line by far. Is the center. Like their job is
Sure.
the hardest. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
most
I mean,
important. The left tackle though is the most desired because you have to have a guy that can, pass protect, like you said, to protect the quarterback's blind side.
yeah, I mean, I think over the years, I think that's like the right tackle importance, especially with Lane Johnson and then like Penei Sewell. It's kind of grown to be like appreciated the right side. So why don't we start with the new award? Why don't we start with the Protector of the Year? Why not? I personally think they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that Lane Johnson wins this award. I think it's
Did you see like an NFL top 100 how they were like kind of giving him his flowers?
yeah, like I think they're recognizing how good he's been for such a long time, and I don't think that the general NFL consensus liked that he was not first team All Pro over Sewell, and I think this award is here with Lane, him even hinting this could be his last season, but we know that time is running very low on his career. it feels like they're definitely gonna try to give him one before he retires, and if he has a season that's as good as it was last year, I feel like it's gonna be hard for someone to have a season that is so much better where it would be kinda wrong to give it to him. Um, so my pick officially for it is going to be Lane Johnson. I think
I
he's
agree with that.
second
I agree with
second
that.
favorite.
On the flip side, you mentioned potential last season. I mean, I look over to San Francisco and see Trent Williams, who
I think he's got a good shot to win it too. I think the 3 favorites, in my opinion, are Lane. Well, the 3 betting favorites actually are in order. It's Sewell's the favorite, then it's Lane, and then it's, Trent Williams is 3rd.
okay.
But, my official pick will be Lane Johnson. I do think he gets it.
Okay. How about oh gee, this is your favorite award, Michael. How about
Are you picking Trent Williams to win it?
I mean, I want to pick Lane.
Alright, pick
I
Lane.
think it's Lane. I think Trent Williams signed a brand new contract not that long ago, so he's probably going to hang around a couple years. I mean, is this going to be an award where it's like we give the flowers to a guy like you know what I mean? Do you follow me? Like,
I think at first, I think since it's a new award and it's like, okay, if this award had existed for the last 10 years, Lane Johnson and Trent Williams probably would have had multiple at this point. So like we don't want to be looking back and be like, oh well, Lane never won a Protector of the Year award or Trent Williams never won Protector of the Year, but Penny Sewell has 4 of them. And it's like, okay, why don't we pump the brakes a little bit and act like if this didn't exist since like 2015, Lane Johnson wouldn't have like 4 of them at this point. I think as we do this, I wanna give my favorite pick and then my, like, sleeper-ish. So if Lane's my favorite, looking at the odds and whatnot,
about Joe Alt. That's my
I
sleeper.
was yeah, Joe Alt is actually 5th in odds. So the odds are Penei Sewell, favorite, Lane Johnson, Trent Williams, Jordan Mailata, and then Joe
Wow.
Alt. I'm gonna go so you're going Joe Alt, which I think is a good pick. I'm gonna go a little further down. I know I just talked about how I think this is gonna be skewed towards tackles, but I do think if there is an interior offensive lineman that could get enough of the credit to win it, it would be
Mm.
Creed Humphrey. Um,
Oh
I
my
do think
god.
there's a maybe not this year and maybe not ever, but I do wanna give a little bit of a shout out as I think he
What
has
about Trey
potential.
Smith?
He is nowhere to be found on this list.
Even though he's the highest paid guard in football.
He is equal odds as
You
Cam
should call
Jurgens.
the duel and ask him
Cam
to give you a
Jurgens.
line on Trey Smith to win off
He's
Protector
there.
of the Year.
Equal line as Cam Jurgens and
Wow.
Orlando Brown and Will Campbell and Josh Simmons.
Yeesh.
All right. Next award, where do you wanna take us?
I mean, okay.
We can go backwards. Comeback player of the year. Do we wanna go
Let's do
there?
club. Yeah, because I think our defensive player of the year is the transition into we're picking the NFC
So that might
East.
be last.
Let's admit. Yes. I think comeback. Let's do comeback player of the year.
So, quickly briefing the favorites: Aiden Hutchinson, Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, Trevor Lawrence, JJ McCarthy are the top 5,
So
and, like,
usually
a pretty definitive
this
top
award
5.
has devolved into the debate on this award, Michael, is either coming back from sucking or you came back from an injury. Now in the
I think we've
past,
turned it into injury.
it's always been to coming back from an injury,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you know, I mean, I'm not sure Hutchinson. I mean, man, his injury, he might need another year before he's back to his himself.
That is what I'm thinking too. I feel like a lot of people are
Michael, I think we're on the same wavelength here. Do you know who's never like won an award? Who, if they need to give this guy an award to like give him his quote unquote flowers, this is going to be Dak's award, man. Now
he
this,
won Rookie of the Year way back in the day.
oh, he did.
Yeah, yeah. He's not totally without some hardware. Um, So your pick's Dak. I like the pick of Dak. I do think that's. I
Like
think I
T
would
like
make him the favorite. To be honest
T
with
Law
you.
because like T Law. I mean, I could see T Law being like Baker. Like Baker didn't win this award, did he? I don't think he did.
Mm, well, I mean, Lawrence was hurt. Like,
He was. I mean, he was injured, but it was like
I mean, he got shut down for like a couple weeks, but he was dealing with injuries all year, and I think it was enough for people to see. Baker did not win it, but like Flacco won it 2 years ago, and that was some BS because he came back from sucking. Gino won
he
it the
came
year
back from the
before.
couch, is what he came back from.
Right. Gino won it before, which like Gino had an awesome year when he became the starter of the Seahawks. But again, he came back from being like just a backup quarterback. And it was like, oh wow. Joe Burrow's won this award twice, which like that feels absurd. He won it last year and then in 2021. And listen, he was banged up in 2020. He tore his knee, right?
Yeah, like week 6 or 7, I believe that his rookie year.
Alex Smith won it when he had the devastating leg injury. Ryan Tannehill came back from sucking and won it. Andrew Luck won it because he came back from injury. Very inconsistent. Some really like Michael Vick won it when he came back from jail.
Came back from Leavenworth.
Like he won it as a member of the Eagles. Like he came back from jail and won the very, very inconsistent. Oh, I thought that Joe Burrow's gonna be the only player to win it twice, and then I see that Chad Pennington won it twice for two different teams. How about that?
Yeah,
Um,
this is obviously a Fugazi award. Like we all know this is a Fugazi.
I mean,
So
the first one to ever win it was a kicker in 1963,
hmm.
Jim Martin of the Baltimore Colts, and then the fourth one to win it was Dick Bass, a fullback for the Rams. What the hell were they doing, man? What were they doing back in the day? Anyways, I'm you're taking Dak. I like the Dak pick. I'll be honest. I'm gonna take Trevor Lawrence though. Um, I do think that people will give enough credit to his injury, and I think he'll have. I guess my prediction is that he's gonna have a good enough season to the point where it's a good enough season where people aren't going to want to give him MVP votes, but they're going to want to acknowledge him in some sort of way. And I think that this is going to be their way to do it because they can say that, well, he was injured. And I'm just pretty high on the Jags. And this will kind of bleed in to my next pick. But if I had to give a little like a sleeper, I do look at a guy like Anthony Richardson if he comes in during the season and like plays well potentially. But if I had to give like a serious one, um, maybe Chris Godwin if he can be healthy
Man, that
and
injury
have a
he
good
had was
year.
so bad.
Like if he has like a 1,200-yard season somehow, which I don't think is likely, but if he does, I think they'd give it to him. So I'll say Godwin.
Well, I think
That's a good pick too if he's healthy.
CMC, because he's like a media darling as well. Dak's obviously a polarizing figure. I mean, here's the thing with Dak. I mean, Michael, if Dak has a bunch of garbage time numbers, he's not going to win the award because everyone's going to complain about it. Where
Yeah,
if
but
like
I mean, I feel like this
if the
award is like
Niners have one
unserious
of the
enough.
worst rosters in the NFL, in my opinion. They're like a bottom 10 roster. And if CMC runs for 1,500 yards, like 20 touchdowns, gets back, like basically like a Derrick Henry season last year, maybe a little bit
Hmm.
less,
Hmm.
then like he's going to win the award, I think.
Hmm.
They're not
Yeah.
going to give the award to an edge rusher. Like, they're not.
Like Aiden Hutchinson, we're gonna get to this when we talk about Depoy. Like he is second best odds to win Defensive Player of the Year. I feel like the league doesn't like to double dip in awards in that way. Where like, yeah, if he won Defensive Player of the Year, I guess
Yeah, if he has
obviously
20
he would be
sacks, then
right. Like I
maybe.
guess obviously he'd be the comeback player of the year, but they tend to like avoid doing that because then you would get the MVP and the offensive player of the year would essentially like win it every time,
The
basically.
offensive player of the year is for the non-quarterbacks to get their flowers.
Right. So or yeah,
Fake
I
money.
don't know. It's weird. It's weird. But okay. Uh where do you want to go next?
So why don't we let's do coach of the year.
All
I
right.
know who you like.
My pick is going to be. Oh, did they take down Coach of the Year odds? I think they did. That's interesting. My pick for Coach of the Year, Liam Cohen. That is my pick. It's the winner of this award has always been like who does who
Does the
breaks
most with the least.
yeah, who breaks expectations that weren't that high to begin with. Not that the Jags don't have high expectations, but first time head coaches tend to be a very big favorite in winning this award. And I really do think all the Jags have to do is win the AFC South and like look kind of good doing it for him to win that award. And I really am high on the Jags. I have to be. Like I look at their defense and that worries me and stuff, but like for what Liam Cohen is responsible for mostly, which is the offensive side of the ball, I really do think they can put up some pretty big numbers and
Hmm.
win games and ultimately win like a not so strong division. And I feel pretty good about that, I have to say. I do think that there's a chance that, you know, the Jags can go on somewhat of a run, very maybe similar to what they did in 22. So yeah, I'm gonna give the coach of the year to Liam Cohen.
So that's a good pick. Here's the thing, though, Michael, is I feel like this award.
Goes to the coach who makes the playoffs with the worst quarterback.
Sort of.
Huh.
I'm here. This is my pick, and you're going to cringe when I say it.
I
I think
might
it's
this might be my sleeper pick
I think
if you're
mine's
gonna say
Jonathan
what I want.
Gannon.
That was my sleeper. My sleeper was
Like if the
Jonathan
Cardinals
Gannon.
win that division, he's going to be the coach of the year because like that roster. I mean, Michael, like that roster is pretty much built from the ground up, with the exception of like Josh Sweat
And, like, that could be, like, a pretty legitimate piece for
and
them.
James
Like, no
Conner.
joke. Like, Josh Sweat can be a very serious addition for that
Like I think
defense.
Drew Petzing, their offensive coordinator, is going to be the hot head coaching candidate, like assistant, because he was already getting people were already talking about him last year, and then they went on their
Mhm.
collapse. But I
Yeah.
think I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have a breakout season. Wow, really, really groundbreaking
Hmm.
stuff right
A
there, bro.
scorching
Right?
hot take from John.
Scorching hot take, but I like the running back room. I like the receivers. I really like Trey McBride. And like, look, man, like people give Kyler a lot of crap. Like he makes 5 really good plays, and then he makes one play where you're like, oh my god, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. But like on Twitter,
And
with
that's
all the
usually what
trolls,
his
they show
season is
that
too.
one, not the good ones.
Yeah.
You know. So like, why not, man? Like why not?
Yeah,
Like
I'm not that was my sleeper. Like my because I like the Cardinals this year. I think if the Cardinals can finagle their way into the playoffs, I think Gannon's got a real shot. Do you have a little, like, even darker horse than Jonathan Gannon?
we didn't mention this. I can't consider this guy a dark horse. Like Ben Johnson can't.
He's the favorite, actually.
He's the favorite, so he's not a dark horse.
No, well,
What?
it doesn't listen, you could just give a secondary pick, I guess we'll say.
All
Like,
right, this is my
your
secondary.
official pick and then,
This is
like,
my
a yeah.
secondary pick to win Coach of the Year. Sean Payton, media darling, doesn't
I'm
have he doesn't
yeah, go
have
ahead.
that like stench from the Michigan scandal that Jim Harbaugh still kind of has on him. People are
Mhm.
complaining. about the whole, he ran away from college to go back. That's why he's back in the NFL, like Pete Carroll did with the
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks. It's the same thing. And Pete Carroll never got any flowers until he won at the Super Bowl with the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Michael, you and I both can't stand Sean Payton because of his time with the Saints. The media, worships the ground he walks on, man. Like, you know it too. Like,
I
you know it.
I I thought he was gonna get more consideration for it last year. Like, I get why Dan Quinn won it, but I really did think I felt what Sean Payton did with Bo Nix was I don't know, because I felt like he had a lot more to do with the success of the Broncos than Dan Quinn had with the success of the Commanders. Like, I think a lot of the credit for the Commanders' success should go on the shoulders of, like, Jaden Daniels and, like, Cliff Kingsbury, like, honestly. He called a really good offense for a rookie, and Jaden Daniels is still, like, really good to thrive in that. I felt that Sean Payton did, like, everything he could to make Bo Nix's job as easy as possible, and they made the playoffs because of it. And, like, it's not like either team beat playoff teams last year, the Commanders and the Broncos, that is, you know? So, I feel like he kinda got hosed from it last year, and I think I think there's a good shot he can win it this year. It's not a bad, especially if they win the AFC West, it's free. Yeah,
It's a wrap.
it's free, yeah.
It's a wrap.
Um Next up, let's go to defensive rookie of the year. Now, I think we're probably going to pick the same guy. I really think there's a high and away favorite, and everyone else feels like a pretty steep, like, long shot, honestly, unless the favorite just plays poorly. You know, if the favorite plays well, I think it's him, and that favorite's Abdul Carter. There's no other way for me to slice it. I think he's going to be a really great pass rusher on what is a really, really good defensive line. Like, it's one of those situations where, yeah, the Giants defense blows, but their front four is, like, pretty lethal. It can go against almost everybody else in the NFL. And that much attention needing to go on, Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence, like, having to pay attention to those guys, it'll likely lead to some favorable matchups for Abdul Carter. And I think he's going to be able to tee off as a rookie, um, especially, if teams are going to be trying to throw it and get after that secondary to avoid that front four. He's like the heavy favorite, and I like that a lot. Like, if I had to give some sort of the two players that I think would be cool if they won it, obviously Jahad Campbell being one of them would be awesome, but that feels, unlikely, I guess. And Travis Hunter, I think I want to give Travis Hunter some credit if he's going to play a lot of chunk of time on defense. I think that could be a possibility, but I do think Abdul Carter's got this award as long as he just kind of plays good.
Let me throw something out there for you. What if Andrew Mukuba gets like 6 interceptions in the CJGJ role as a rookie? Like, what do we value for this? Like, this feels like an edge rusher award, right?
Well, it's like defensive player of the year. Like, if like Pat Surtain won it last year, if a corner's gonna win it, they need to be like never targeted, like crazy good. Like, everyone has to agree that, oh yeah, this guy's the best corner in the game by a wide margin. He's the best player on a top defense in the league, like that sort of thing. Defensive rookie of the year is like that version, but light. I feel like if a secondary guy is going to have a chance to win it, they're going to need a lot of those counting visible stats like turnovers, like interceptions, like you said. If Makuba's going to get like 5 interceptions and like maybe like like a pick six and like a scooping fumble recovery for a touchdown, and the Eagles defense is really good again, and there's enough big plays that he makes outside of turnovers where people can like pay attention. Yeah, I think he's got a shot. Um, but I mean, that's a lot of things that's got to go his way. Where like if Abdul Carter has 10 sacks, he's winning the award.
I'm checking one last thing for I'm going to give you a dark horse. If this guy,
Is Makuba not the dark horse, or are you still picking Abdul Carter?
I have this weird feeling because Abdul Carter is just like very full of himself. I could see him starting off slow because if this is like the Giants also have the hardest schedule in professional football, by the way.
You're
But
not picking Abdul Carter.
I'm gonna go against the grain here. What I'm gonna pick Micah Williams from Georgia
Okay.
because the Niners have that easy schedule, and if they're playing Garbo teams, and look, Robert Saleh is back at defensive coordinator, right?
Hmm.
And they're going to be double teaming Bosa every play. I could see him farming sacks. You know,
Yeah, that's
I checked the
that's
Ravens
valid.
depth chart to see if Mike Green's starting, and he's not. But if he was starting, he would have been my pick.
It's valid. All right, let's go to offensive rookie of the year. I'm gonna pick like this feels like a good rookie quarterback has a good season. He's gonna win the award. The favorite's Ashton Genty. Then it's Cam Ward. Then Amarian Hampton. Then Travis Hunter, and then you get into some of the receivers. I'm gonna go with Cam Ward is my pick. I
Okay,
do think that he's good enough. I think Cam Ward's actually gonna be very good. I think he's
I
kind of
agree.
got that mental makeup that you need to thrive. I think he has that willingness to want to get better relentlessly. And listen, everyone kind of memed and joked about his pocket presence in college, like, oh, because he would just like stand like a beanpole and take a couple and then launch a nuke. And it's like, yeah, good luck doing that in the NFL. And like he's not doing that in the NFL, or at least didn't do it in like preseason and joint practices, but he still looked really comfortable. Like he just because he wasn't like being super cool about it or whatever, he was doing it the right way. And he looked really, really casual and really, really comfortable. And listen, all of his weapons that got drafted or signed undrafted free agent,
Or
they all
not
got
on
cut.
teams.
They all
Yes.
got cut. So for and like Miami has left off as the number 10 ranked team in college football. And like feels like Cam Ward had about 95% to do with that. And is
Oh,
a
you
huge
mean like
reason
how
why.
Boise State was ranked 25th and they got blown out by South Florida because they
Right.
didn't have
Like
Jetty just to feed the ball to?
right. So like I think Cam Ward is actually going to have a very nice season. I don't think the Titans are going to finish last in the AFC South, and I think he's going to be like far and away the best rookie quarterback, and I think that he's going to be solid. And I really like him as my favorite. And then if I had to give my like dark horse, my little like sleepers, um, I'm between two guys. I like there's a lot of rookie receivers that I like. I really like Emeka Egbuka. I think he can be
I was
awesome.
actually going to pick him as my
Yeah.
outright winner.
If I had to give another sleeper, it's Matthew Golden in Green Bay. I think, especially now with the Parsons trade, a lot of eyes are going to be on um, Green Bay this year. And if they've ever needed like a true number one receiver or a guy to just take the reins and be like, listen, I'm the guy, you're going to throw me the ball a lot, I think Matthew Golden has potential to kind of be that guy. And if he is that guy, it makes the rest of that receiving core so much better. Where we've been saying it for years now that they have three or four number two or three receivers, that if you just get a one in there, the whole thing is going to look a hell of a lot better. And Matthew Golden could just be that guy. But I'd probably lean Igbuka too. I think he could have a pretty monster
I like
season.
Igbuka more than Golden. I think Igbuka can be a number one receiver, and I think
Hmm.
he's the heir apparent to Mike Evans. And
Hmm.
so far, he's looked great in camp. Um, so since Igbuka was my primary, Michael, I am gonna give you my dark horse because I'm very high on this guy, Travion Henderson.
Yeah, it seems
Did
like
you see? Did you see the video of Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson talking at a press conference saying, "Oh, we're cool with splitting carries"? And the top comment was, "It's like you two are both fighting to see who's the number 2 running back on this team because there's no way Vrabel. If you watched those two last year, like that Patriots offense was an abomination.
Right.
They surrounded with Drake May. Travion
Right.
Henderson, he reminds me of Brian Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to find ways to get him involved a lot because Vrabel is not going there to win 4 games this year. He thinks he can get a wild card spot.
Sure.
That's Vrabel. That's his thought process. Played under Belichick, coached under Andy Reid.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I think that starting the year, he's not going to be the number one like right out the gate. I think it's gonna be one of those things where it's like they're kind of running a little three-headed monster, and then by week 3 or week 4, it's going to be like, okay, we're kidding ourselves
Travion
here
breaks
by
off an
not.
80-yard touchdown, and then
Yeah,
Ramondre's like
it's just like
15 carries for 30 yards. That's like, what are we doing here?
it's going to be like the offensive EPA is like tripled when Henderson gets the ball. The success rate is like double. It's going to be some like very outlandish stats.
I said to
And it's
one of
like
my
the
friends
passing
at
game's
work,
better when
I said to one of
Henderson's
my
on the
friends at
field.
work, I said, I think Henderson's their second best receiver.
Yeah, like it's really gonna be one of those things where it's like, you know, even the passing game is that much better when Henderson's on the field because teams load like that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think that's a good sleeper. I think that's a good player, very good player.
All right.
Let's go to offensive player of the year. Um, I'm going with Jamar Chase. I do think it's his time to just win the award. I think that
Oh, you think
he's
it's gonna be like a here damn like award?
like not like I think he's gonna deserve it. I think he's gonna earn it.
He
But
he
you
might
know,
have just. I think he.
you know what? No,
That
no.
was tough. That was tough because
I'm I'm
It was Henry, Chase, and Saquon.
I'm rescinding my pick. I'm not taking Jamar Chase. He's gonna have a great year, but I
Bones
think
repeated
maybe
as the number 1 scorer in fantasy 2 years in a row, which is him.
my pick is Bijan Robinson. I think
That's a good one.
Bijan is gonna have a monster season. I think maybe it's not gonna
Here's
be
the
as good as
there is.
Saquon's.
Can I think Bijan should be the offensive player of the year, but there is one problem. That's not his doing. His name is Tyler Algier.
I mean, sure. I don't know. I feel like
Michael, if Saquon didn't have like touchdowns vultured from him from the tush push and he broke the touchdown record and ran for 2,000 yards, he would have been the league's most valuable player.
Bijan had 1,456 yards on 304 carries. I mean, how many more touches did you want him to get, you know? It's not like he didn't get it's not like he really got his carry slice. He had over 300 touches. He had over 300 rushes. He also had 61
But a
catches for
potential Saquon down
431.
year could equal a Bijan year. That's what's going to hurt him. That's the
Only
problem.
one. I mean, he had 14 rushing touchdowns
Plus, what if
also.
Zach
Like,
Robinson's a moron? We talked about
yeah,
this.
but even if he's a moron,
What
those
if he's
numbers are
dumb?
ridiculous, you know? Like
Like, what if he's
Tyler
dumb?
Algier had 137 carries. How many more of the and only 3 touchdowns. So, like, how many more of those 137 did we wanna give to Bijan? You're not gonna give Bijan 370 carries. You're not gonna give him half of those. They just ran the ball a lot. I mean, I think
I'm
Bijan
gonna.
can have,
Can I give you
like,
my
two
pick
I think
here?
he can have
Yeah.
2,000 all-purpose yards and, like 18 total touchdowns. I think they'll give it to him.
Here's my pick. Justin Jefferson. I'm going to tell you why. JJ McCarthy, who I know you're not a fan of, Mister McCarthy.
I'm not a believer.
When there's bad QB play from the Vikings, if you ever watched like when Nick Mullins was playing and like all those bums they were throwing out there, they would just literally spam
Oh,
getting the
jeez.
ball to Jefferson. Just Get him the ball, and he'll make plays no matter any drags, slants. Like he could catch 130 passes this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going you saw it last year where with Darnold, they would get in the red zone and they would use him as a decoy. And listen, I'm not a Sam Darnold guy because of his mentals. In terms of arm talent, he's really good,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Yeah.
don't think JJ McCarthy has the arm talent of Sam Darnold. And I think they're going to, and now with the Addison suspension, he's kind of maybe falling a little out of favor with them. They picked up Adam Thielen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to rely very heavily on Justin Jefferson in Minnesota. I think that's going to translate into a monster season. I think he might be the number one player in fantasy this year, which usually translates to Michael winning this
Offensive
award.
player of the well,
Winning
especially
this award.
offensive player of the year. Absolutely.
I know it's not a
Absolutely.
sexy pick. I know it's not sexy,
I mean,
but
John, this is a prediction. This is not a
can I? So
how cool we can make this
all
award, you
right.
know.
So can I give you my dark horse pick to win this award?
I'm gonna predict that we have the same dark horse. Let's say it at the same time.
Brian
3.
Thomas. Wait.
I was gonna count it down, and we were both
Oh,
gonna say Brian Thomas Jr. I knew we were gonna say Brian Thomas Jr. 3, 2, 1, Brian Thomas
Brian
Jr.
Thomas
Yes.
Jr.
Plus 3,500 on FanDuel. I think that is a hell of a pick. I think he can have an awesome year this year, man. If Liam Cohen really gets to cooking, and I mean, what did he have last year? Brian Thomas Jr. last season as a rookie had 1,200 yards, and I hate how this is. I really hate how some of these things get blowed out. All right. Oh my god. Sorry about this, people. I don't like certain things. 17 games last year, he had 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, and that was with, like, Doug, who was pretty atrocious last year, I have to say. Um, so, yeah, I think he could have, like, a 1,700-yard season,
Yeah,
absolutely.
watching Jags games was they're down 14-0, and then it's BTJ makes a monster play and then gets them back in the game.
Yeah, and the monster play is, like, a 70-yard touchdown. Like, it's something ridiculous,
Yes,
so,
it's
yeah.
something absurd.
So, next we're gonna go to MVP. We're gonna save
All
defensive player of the
right.
year for last. My pick, it's gonna be the favorite. It's Lamar Jackson. I just think he's such a machine in the regular season, year in and year out. It's one of the best we've ever seen. The numbers he puts up are ridiculous. I think last year he was absolutely robbed of the award from Josh Allen, and that was like a definitely a pity MVP. Not that Allen was bad, or not that Allen like didn't have an argument, but Lamar just put up some truly absurd numbers, and like a lot of people compared it to Embiid and Jokic, that sort of thing. And the way it kind of went, where
Mm.
Embiid did deserve it maybe more years prior, where like you could have argued Josh Allen maybe deserved it a different year. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, we gave it to Josh in a year that Lamar made first team all pro over him and probably should have got it. This year, he's probably going to get it. He's my pick. I think he's going to have another insane season, and they're not going to have a choice. But if I did have to hand out, this isn't like a dark horse player by any stretch of the imagination, but Patrick Mahomes is my other pick to win the award.
I have a. I'm not.
I know
I'm
you're
sorry.
down.
Keep
I
going.
know you're down on KC. That's like
Well,
Rasheed Rice is going to miss
I'm not
6
down on
games.
Andy Reid. I'm not down on Andy Reid.
No, you're down on Matt Nagy. Yeah,
Yeah, he's an idiot.
sure.
You shouldn't be coaching in the. You should be coaching
Rasheed
quarterbacks, not.
Rasheed
Or,
Rice is going to be back in about 6 games, roughly. The Chiefs, they just win. We know that. They win a lot. I think with a lot of wins, a lot of like fourth quarter comebacks, and then when Rasheed Rice comes back, the stats really start to inflate where it's like all of a sudden Mahomes has another 4,600 yard season, something crazy, and throws for a lot of touchdown, maybe tones down some of the interceptions too, plays a little more safe with the football. I could see some narrative game favoring him when it all comes said and done. But my official pick is still
So
Lamar.
yeah, so I think the Lamar and Allen is like Jokic and Embiid. I agree with
Mhm,
that. Not including the health, but like like skill and talent,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
They're both insane. I have a feeling, Michael, is if there is a team that's going to be like this year's Oklahoma City Thunder, who is the SJA of
Yeah.
SGA? Excuse me, sorry, I'm thinking of Brian Thomas. Who's the SGA of like the NFL?
Uh, that's like a serious MVP candidate? Is it
And
not Lamar? Like, it could also be Lamar.
yeah, but everyone calls
Is it
Shy
Jalen?
like a free throw
Are
merchant.
you saying Jalen's the MVP? Is that what you're getting at?
Oh, maybe a little bit.
I think unfortunately,
In terms of EPA last year in the second half, he was like the most efficient player.
I feel like things would have to unfortunately go bad in terms of injury for Jalen to have a chance for it, if you know what I mean. Like, I think that, like, Saquon would have to miss a good chunk of the season, and maybe
Well, no. If they're
AJ
just trying to
Brown would have to miss a
if
few
they're
games.
trying to rest Saquon, like we're not gonna abuse his carries like we did before because like
Mhm.
you know that and look, Saquon has said that he's like feeling physically fine. You know why? Like
I listen, is that your
you
pick?
saw
Your
the NFL
official
Top 100. They
is
wanted
this
to
your
give him
of
his flowers, right?
is this your official pick?
No, it's not going to be him.
That's your dark horse. That's a fine dark horse.
Well, I actually, Michael, if the Arizona Cardinals win
Oh my
12
god.
games, is it why not? Is it Kyler?
Why not?
He should have
Listen,
won the MVP like 4 years ago until they choked the season away. He was the MVP.
is this your official pick, Kyler Murray?
He's my dark horse. I'm trying to think.
Okay, okay.
I'm thinking. If the
Uh,
Bengals somehow win 11 games with that like abomination of a defense, I'm telling you, it's going to be Joe Burrow because
yeah, he's
they
third.
already floated that tweet out like preseason MVP Joe Burrow. Like that was clearly like a marketing test. Like how would
Mhm.
people react to this? Because
Yeah,
people are getting
yeah.
sick of them.
Because, I think the Bengals would have to definitely make the playoffs, and I think they would likely have to win the division. It feels as though it would be difficult to give it to, um feels like it would be difficult to give it to them if they didn't make the playoffs. I
Here's
will say I just saw something that's very funny. Is when Jordan Love has jumped in MVP odds post Micah Parsons trade, which,
what?
like, does that make sense? That just shows how much narrative plays a factor into this, where if the Packers now with Micah Parsons win, like, win the NFC North and, like, maybe have the 1
Michael, I
seed,
like Bo Nix more than I like Jordan Love.
like, Jordan Love jumped from plus 2,000 to plus six, that wasn't crazy, to plus 1,600.
Remember before the playoff game against the Packers? I think I said to you before, he's like, I think Jordan Love's just mid,
Well, yeah, yeah, I will never forget that. That
and
was
you were
very
like,
funny. It's
it's
like,
kind of.
I like him,
You're
you
like, that's
know?
kind of mean. At the end of the game, you're like, oh my god, John, he's so mid. I'm like,
Well,
what am I watching?
he let out one of the worst playoff stinkers in a while. That was for sure. But anyways, all besides the point. Your official pick is Burrow, which that's valid.
That's a total narrative That's total straight up NFL
That's
narrative.
another. That's
That's who they
another.
want to win the award.
That's another like huge statistical season combined with the fact that the Bengals make the playoffs and potentially even steal the division from Baltimore.
Like remember Lamar's second MVP, where he didn't have monster numbers per se, but that
But he
Ravens team
played
was
amazing in
ass.
those. Well, he also played really well against good teams.
Yes.
Like you remember, the MVP came down to Christmas night, Niners, Ravens, basically, where if Brock Purdy lit it up on Christmas and beat the Ravens, he was probably going to win the award. Like, no joke. Brock Purdy was almost the MVP of the National Football League in 2023. And then Brock Purdy threw 4 interceptions, and Lamar played out of his mind again. And it was like, okay, yeah, Lamar doesn't have the counting stats, but every playoff team he faces and every big game he's in, he's lighting up everything. So we got to give it to him. And that's like not what Josh Allen did, I felt. Like, I don't know. It was one of those, it was weird. But, anyways, okay. On to the defensive player of the year. To be fair, I believed this guy was going to win it before, what was that? Before Friday. Thursday? Friday? It was Thursday. Um, yeah, it was before Thursday. I have felt he was going to win it for some time. I felt like he was due to win it. He's got, the best start to a career since Reggie White in terms of a pass rusher. Micah Parsons was my pick. He is the favorite to win the award. He's got 12 sacks in each of his first 4 seasons. The only other player to do that was Reggie White. I think now even more so the narrative is really in his favor, where if we had looked at the Packers defense and we were like, okay, what's their like absolute biggest need? It's not the best unit in the league, but they have some stars at every level. Xavier McKinney's really good. Edger and Cooper is very good. They're kind of lacking like a legitimate pass rusher, legitimate edge rusher. We all remember the Jahan Dotson touchdown in the playoffs where Jalen had about 14 seconds to stand in the pocket and look around to
Yeah,
find him eventually.
that's a pretty good impetus to acquire him.
Yeah, so they go out and they get like a top 2, top 3 pass rusher in the entire sport. And of the top 2, top 3 pass rushers, he's like the youngest. He's definitely in his prime, 26 years old. You pay him all the money. The Packers are the now, I think, deserved division favorites in the NFC North. If he has another monster season, I think there's going to be way too much narrative going in his favor to not give it to him. I felt this way even if he was in Dallas, that he was going to have a great statistical year, and like he wasn't going to play a couple games to where everyone was like, wow, the Cowboys defense is one of the worst in the league. But when Parsons is playing, it's like just bad, not absolutely garbage, but just bad. And like he has great numbers, so we'll give it to him. But now it's like he can be the best player on a good defense and a really good team. I think a lot of things will go in his favor. So yeah, Micah Parsons, my official defensive player of the year pick. And if I had to give a dark horse for DPOY, I would say I would have to go with like I don't like Aiden Hutchinson. My dark horse, it's very low odds because it's hard for a player at this position to win the award. Kyle Hamilton. I think he is incredible. I think he's the best safety in the league. I think that he could be the best player on the best defense in the league in Baltimore. And I think if he ups the turnover numbers a little bit and there's enough people pushing of like, look how good he is at all these stuff that doesn't really show up on the stat sheet all the time,
Yeah,
I think he could
it's
win it.
funny, Michael, because like 20 years ago, when everyone talked about defensive players, it was like the safety position when you had B Doc, Paul Polamalu, Ed
Ed
Reed,
Reed,
Bob Sanders as
hmm
well.
Rod Woodson when he pre or post. He started as a corner,
I think you
right?
mean Charles Woodson.
Didn't
Rod
Rod
Woodson.
Woodson also play safety? I thought he moved at
Charles
like
Woodson
halfway
played
through his
mostly
career.
corner, and then he moved to safety with the Packers near the end of his career.
Yeah. I thought Rob Woodson also did that.
He did that too.
Maybe
Yes, all
yeah.
favors. Yes, yes, yes.
Ronnie Lott, like there's a lot of
I mean, the safeties right now, like I would say, like Antoine Winfield Jr.,
like Kyle Hamilton, I would
Alham
say.
Derwin James,
Sure. Buda Baker's still good back there.
Harrison Smith. Is a name
Brian Branch. There's one more.
that would be like
Jesse
a
Bates.
narrative award for Hamilton. It's like, oh, we got to start promoting like the safeties.
Yeah, it's a hard position to win the award,
I
I
like
will
that
say.
dark horse.
Yeah.
So my favorite or my pick's going to be Myles Garrett because I have a feeling that Micah isn't in shape yet fully because of this whole contract saga.
No, he'll get in shape. Don't
I
you
mean, he'll
worry.
get in shape. I just think that, he might
So,
start
like
off
his
slow a little
do you
bit to start the year.
do you think his breakout game is like set up for Week 4 Sunday Night Football in Dallas?
That would be correct. That
He's
odds
gonna
would
have a
say
slow
yes.
3 weeks, and then he's gonna come out on Sunday Night Football and have like 3.5 sacks and a forced fumble on Dak.
Correct.
Awesome.
Well, here's the thing with Myles Garrett, though, man. I know he won the award a couple years ago, but he is the best defensive player in football.
Yes.
Like, he should have 3 or 4 of these awards, you'd think, right? He just turned
Yeah.
30.
What does he have? One?
He only has 1. Probably should have more.
You know who doesn't have one? Von Miller. Doesn't that feel
That's
pretty wrong?
pretty insane.
Because his really good seasons kind of fell when JJ Watt won 3 and 4 years. He had some tough luck with his prime aligning with JJ Watts, but yeah. No, listen, Myles Garrett, if he won it, I would assume he's pretty deserving of it. I thought he could have been deserving of it last year. You know,
Now, I think a lot of these awards are narrative based, which is going to lead me into my dark horse to win this award, Michael. Jalen Carter.
uh
This is the narrative. Now, this is my reason for narrative. Aaron Donald. Wow, this guy reminds me the most of me, of anyone in the NFL by a significant margin.
Mhm.
Who was like the narrative guy for this award, Michael? Aaron Donald.
Because Aaron Donald, we like when we say narrative guy, we don't mean like didn't deserve it. Like Aaron Donald deserved every time he won the award, but it was like playing a defensive end in a 3-4 scheme is just it's tends to be harder to accumulate those stats. It's like everyone just kind of knows how good you are, you know? And like you obviously they show up, but it's like you definitely if you're going to win it as an interior defensive lineman, you need a lot of narrative to go your way. Yes, agreed.
Right. And I think this might be like this could be the year because it's his second year in the Fangio scheme. I think like you saw the numbers, man. If he's not double teamed, he's causing chaos, and when he is double teamed, everybody else in the defense like eats.
Mhm.
So like that's the thing. Nobody on the Eagles last year, but really Saquon, like got their flowers. If the Eagles have another monster season, like who's going to get the credit? Like who's going to be the person? It's probably not going to be Jalen because they all hate Jalen. I mean, can AJ win Offensive Player of the Year like with all the weapons around there?
I
Probably
mean,
not.
just they just run the ball too
They're
much,
gonna
you
give
know.
him like 3 weeks. It's like Wheeler. They're gonna give him like 2 weeks off for the playoffs. That's gonna like kind of disqualify him for any kind of award. You'd think, right?
I
He'll
mean,
get
he's
like
just not going to get the volume, you know.
right. And like, okay, so who on the Eagles do we need to like prop up? Because what we're gonna have
Lane
all these
Johnson.
awards.
Lane. That's why we think Lane's going to win it.
Lane, okay, but he's kind of like the favorite. I agree with you on that. Got to go the other way. What if it's not Lane? What if Lane misses like 4 games? He's not going to win the award. So I know,
God forbid.
I know, but it's going to be
Mood kill, John.
like who else on this team, on this Eagle team, do you think would be deserving of an award potentially? Jalen Carter.
Listen, if Zach Bond has another year like he had last year, he can win some narrative. If Zach Bond was named Fred Warner, we all agree he would have won the award last year.
That's a good point.
Something to think about. Something to think about. But anyways, all right, we have a lot left to talk about.
Right, so let's kick it in gear. All right, let's talk about the NFC East, Michael. I think you and I both agree. Well, maybe not.
No, we got to talk about the trade here. Do we want to talk about that with the NFC East, or
let's talk about this, and we'll just kind of skim over the Cowboys.
We can talk about the Cowboys first. So we'll start with that.
Are they going to finish in last place?
No, this was listen, we made this a loose record prediction, but no, I don't think they're going to finish in last
if they
place.
win like 7 games, and the Giants win 7 games, and the Giants can never beat the Cowboys, what if this is the year the Giants beat the Cowboys?
Listen, if there was ever a way for the Cowboys to finish in last place, this move was the best chance to give them to finish last place, trading Micah Parsons away. So the Cowboys on Thursday shipped off Micah Parsons to one of their biggest out-of-division rivals in the Green Bay Packers.
I would argue as big as the Niners.
I think in recent years, it's definitely gotten up there with Rodgers and Jordan Love just a few years ago, dominating them in the playoffs. Yeah, it's been up. Okay. 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. Let's talk about the return.
That looks like a return from 1994.
2 first-round picks that are not going to be good. At the best, they're going to be 23. They're going to be in the 20s. Absolutely. I'd be shocked if they're any worse.
I would say this though, Michael. The copium is going to be though that the next 2 drafts are going to be probably some of the most talented drafts of all time, or in recent memory, compared to the last couple. Because of COVID limiting amount of prospects coming out, the copium's going to be, the guys we're going to be picking in the end of the first round, they're still going to be good players, but the odds of them being a Micah Parsons are astronomically low.
Yeah, I hear you. It's not going to be Micah Parsons. I think people aren't remembering, I guess, because the Cowboys haven't been good in over a calendar year, how good Micah Parsons actually is. I think people forget in 2023 how dominant Micah was as a part of a winning Cowboys team.
Yes, Micah Parsons is the Cowboys' best was.
Dude, Micah Parsons, I think, is the second or third best defensive player in all of football. I think that's a pretty valid statement, right? It's not.
That's a very lukewarm take.
Correct. I think he's a top 10 player in the sport. That's what we're kind of getting at here. I think people kind of need to be reminded of that, and I think on a better team, a team that's more poised to contend, that Green Bay is, I think people be reminded of that. All this to say that the return was just not that much, and we knew Jerry Jones was thinking this. We just didn't know if he was going to actually say it. And he did say it. It's a lot like the Herschel Walker trade from back in the day. And it's no, it's not. It's just not.
They got traded an entire draft for him.
Herschel Walker was kind of washed. One, Micah Parsons is in his prime. Herschel Walker got you 2 firsts, 2 2s, 2 3s, and a player. This got you 2 firsts, and that's it. what do you mean you didn't ask for 2 twos or anything? Why didn't you ask for more? And the Cowboys admitted that they viewed they looked at the only teams they tried to trade Micah Parsons to were teams that, 1, could handle him financially, and, like, I can understand that. You're not gonna look to trade him to a team that wasn't gonna give him a contract because he might not approve of it. Okay, whatever, that's fine. But the second, like, important note was like, "Oh, well, we needed to get an interior defensive lineman to help out our run defense," and it's like, why the hell does that matter even 1%? I would only really care about getting the best draft capital I can and the best player I can. I would not really worry about the position that they played as like, because you would assume it's probably gonna be a defensive player that you're returning anyways. If you got some great shutdown corner, if you got some another great edge rusher or another like, who cares? And Kenny Clark is like on a legitimate downturn of his career. He had his worst season of his career by far rushing the passer last year, and graded as a run defender has been about a 60 in each of the last 4 seasons for the Green Bay Packers. Like, he is trending downwards. Kenny Clark's stock is going absolutely through the floor at this point. And their whole preachy of like, well, we can scheme up pressure, no problem. It's just a matter of
I
like,
mean, should
we
we? I
need to
mean,
stop the run.
in terms of a return, like the Cowboys should have gotten more. I agree with you on that. Now, are we going to crucify them for not getting an extra like third round pick thrown in there
Yeah,
like the Bears did to get Khalil Mack 7 years ago? Eh, like, I mean, like the Packers are in a really tough division. That's the problem. The Cowboys put themselves in this position, and the fact they waited so long, that's the issue too, Michael. Like, this is my thing is with this, if you plan on not paying him what he was owed
hmm
for a year, with like how weak free agency was this year, Michael. Like Milton Williams was the best free agent this year.
right.
No offense to Milt, I love Milt Williams, but like he
I
wasn't a
mean, he's
starter on
nobody.
the Eagles last year, and he was the best free agent available, right?
Right.
If the
Right.
Cowboys floated out there in like March, hey, we're shopping Micah Parsons, they might have gotten the same return the Texans got for Deshaun Watson.
That's what I'm saying. Like, positional value is important. Yes, quarterbacks most important, but like, what is the difference? How much better does an edge rusher need to be than a quarterback to get a quarterback like Hall? Like Deshaun Watson getting 4 first-round picks or, a team like the Rams
Well,
trading
it would
3
be a
first-round
team
picks
that
to move up
already
for
had.
Goff.
It would be like the Buffalo Bills trade 3 first-round picks and like a second for Micah.
But my thought is, like, how much better does the edge rusher need to be? You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about how Myles Garrett somehow didn't get traded, and, like, Trey Hendrickson isn't gonna get traded. It's like, how much better how good did Micah Parsons have to be to get more than what they got for him? Like, is he really not good enough for the Cowboys to have, like, demanded, "Listen, man, we're talking about a top 10 player in the sport. We're talking about, the best pass rusher not named Myles Garrett. Like, we're talking about, a guy that is putting up numbers that we haven't seen in this league since Reggie White. Like, what are we, you need to fess
Michael,
up a little more." And, like, teams would
I
have
would
done
say,
it.
Michael, in terms of difficulty in finding good players at a position in the NFL, number one, it's quarterback.
Mhm.
Then I would say, arguably, then it turns into the next three positions. You can order them any way you want: cornerback, tackle, edge.
Yeah. And I honestly, I think wide receivers needs to start getting a little more respect in this regard. But yes, ultimately, yes. And eh, I don't know. It's just kind of beyond me where it's like the only way this is a loss of a trade for the Packers is if Micah is like consistently hurt or like is
Bad.
randomly terrible in his age 26 and like from his age 26 to 30 season, which like feels impossible. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking of all that the Packers gave up, which is 2 first-round picks, Kenny Clark, and the contract. It's a huge contract. 4 years, 188 million, 130 some million guaranteed. It's a lot. For highest paid non-quarterback ever, 47 million a year, all of that, all of it, all of it, all of it. Like this is what you're kind of supposed to do, right? Like you're a team that's considered a playoff contender every year. You need to do something to put yourself in that upper level of contention. Put yourself equal to the, you know, some of the best teams in the NFC or the best teams in the NFC not named the Eagles. You know, put yourself in contention with like you go roster for roster. Is Green Bay's roster better than Buffalo's? Like, yeah, I tend to think so, right? I think they're off,
I would
whatever.
agree. It's the
Yeah. So and
quarterback
like
is the issue.
and people, yeah, and it's like, you know, see Packers fans saying this too. Brett Favre didn't win anything until Reggie White got around. Aaron Rodgers didn't win anything until Charles Woodson came around. Maybe Jordan Love wasn't going to win anything
I
until
mean, Michael,
Micah Parsons
I
came
agree with you
around.
on that take about the Packers, though. Like, you look at the Green Bay Packers, they're a team that doesn't really make big splashes in free agency. However, last year, Josh Jacobs
Xavier McKinney,
and Xavier McKinney.
yeah.
Now they traded for Micah. When you look at the Packers' run when they won their Super Bowl in the '90s, traded for signed Reggie White. Excuse me, not traded. Signed him as a free agent, and then it was like a destination for guys to want to go play there. So
Mhm,
potentially, Michael, guys who may never considered going to Green Bay before
mhm.
may now want to go to Green Bay to play with Micah Parsons.
John, it's a lot of those things, and it's like even like you look at their team as is now. Is it the best team in the NFL? No. Is it the best team in the NFC? No. Like
Well, I think they got significantly better because
yes, absolutely. They've where a window existed for them where it was like, yeah, they have a Super Bowl. They could win a Super Bowl, sure. Why not? Now it's like, yeah, they can definitely win a Super Bowl. They can definitely contend. It's like we talk about those all-time Packer great quarterbacks, and if Jordan Love is really gonna throw himself, in the respects with that, obviously a Super Bowl would have to come at some point. Sometimes you just really need a defensive playmaker. You need someone that's going to put the pressure on the other team the other way. Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions against the Eagles, and the Eagles kind of handled it. And if Saquon doesn't slide, it becomes like 29-10, and it's a real ravaging whatever. But the Packers were like, let's say they had a strip sack from a elite edge rusher away from kind of making that game a lot more sweatier, a lot more
well,
nervous
Michael,
for us,
I just mentioned his name earlier. Look at what Jalen Carter did against the Rams.
Took over the game, totally took over the game. The Packers didn't have and like Xavier McKinney's great, Edgerrin Cooper's good, and they have good corners. They have fine, solid corners. Like to really take over a game as a defensive player, odds are you have to be a guy that's like able to rush the passer and get sacks. Like that's usually how a defensive player takes over a game is by getting sacks. That's, very negative play, whatever. They just didn't have that, for I'm totally blanking on their defensive line right now. Oh my god, totally blanking. For like Rashawn Gary was who I was thinking of. For Rashawn Gary or like Lucas Van Ness, like yeah, there's hope there that those guys can really take over a game every now and again.
I would have rather taken like Lucas Van Ness in that trade than
Or
Kenny
I would have
King.
asked for Gary. Like, I don't know, Rashawn Gary is 27 years old. Like, why would you have not asked for that? You know what I mean? But
Or
I
like,
guess they wanted that's their fault. They wanted a interior defensive lineman, and they got the best one the Packers had. Okay, Packers, no,
yeah, I will
take
say
them.
this though. The issue though for this Green Bay Packer defense, and I think you agree with me, is their secondary.
Yeah, outside of McKinney, like,
It's
it's
very
just
much
not as
like,
good.
yeah, their defense is now like there's is feels a lot like the how do I describe this, Michael? It's very Jim Schwartz Eagles defense ish, where you have Malcolm Jenkins, who's going in the Eagles Hall of Fame, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
That out.
Um, and like scrubs,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it's like it's Malcolm Jenkins, and then you have your
gives
Jalen
up
Mills
8
of the
catches and
world.
then does a finger wag when one
You
gets like.
have your Ronald Darby's, and then
Actually,
but the
those are
Eagles
better.
had a
Actually, that
yeah,
secondary is better than this one, to be fair.
yeah.
And it
But
wasn't it wasn't all that great.
they had their great defensive line, and that's what the Packers are gonna lean on. So listen, man, I used to slam dunk for the Packers, huge for them. The Cowboys, though, man, they're really not gonna do anything until Jerry Jones is dead. I'll be honest. Like it's just
Wow.
he
We said this about Al Davis, Michael, and it really hasn't improved for the Raiders, has it?
no, but at least the Cowboys have been a lot better at drafting than the Raiders have been in the last, like, how many ever years at this point. The problem is you don't get players that wanna go there, and it's like, what player on God's green earth is gonna wanna go to Dallas if they're like, "Dude, if they'll trade Micah Parsons because they don't wanna pay him, I have 0 security in potentially, like, doing anything
That
there and getting
Jerry
a nice
Jones and
contract."
Stephen Jones press conference, that was an all-timer after that trade.
Really was. It
It was
really,
an
really
all-timer.
was.
Please go ahead and watch it if you can. Like Jerry calling him Michael Parsons, like he's only been
Multiple
playing you for
multiple
you
times. Multiple
multiple
times.
times. The Herschel Walker trade, he brings.
Saying we wanna stop the run, and this is why we did
Yeah,
it.
you're saying, oh, he
Saying
sucks as he stops the run. It's all because
saying we think we're gonna be better now than we have been the last few years. Saying, "What's to stop me from using these draft picks now to go acquire a player?" It's like, "Oh, alright, Jerry, you're gonna flip those firsts for someone that's not as good as Micah Parsons? Is that what you're gonna do, man?" Like, that's like, what are
was
we
it? Well,
talking
no,
about
like
here?
no. It almost to me. You make this move to kickstart a rebuild,
Yeah, but they're not doing that. You know
which
Jerry's not
which
gonna
is which
commit
is
to being
which makes
bad.
it totally
Jerry would never commit to being bad.
idiotic. You know,
Yeah, I mean, they
let me
got you
like
don't have the high you're
yeah,
not employing the highest paid quarterback in the entire league to, like, not try to win.
Michael. Let me throw a scenario out for you. Let's say Dak gets banged up again, and the
Oh,
Cowboys win like 4 games.
yeah, I mean, you're gonna bring up Arch.
Arch is playing in 30 minutes.
I don't know. I
What do you
mean,
think the Cowboys would get for CeeDee Lamb in a trade? If I'm an NFL GM, I'm
dude, for
thinking like
CeeDee Lamb, if
I'm gonna
Micah Parsons only got you that, CeeDee Lamb probably gets you
a
a
one first
first
and
and a
a
fifth.
second.
A second's generous, John. You might be
I'm the
able to trade a
Bills. If I'm
first.
the
You could
Bills,
trade a first and Jahan Dotson for CeeDee Lamb.
I'm calling up Jerry and be like, yeah, man, because this is like a
A
recipe for
first and Keon Coleman. Take it. Take it or leave it, Jerry.
no Curtis Samuel because he's
Yeah.
30. He wants a veteran. He
Take
doesn't
it. Yeah,
want.
he wants a vet. Yeah, exactly. It's just you have a lot of Cowboys fans. Like a lot of them are jumping ship. They're like, I can't do this anymore. Someone said like I've lived in Western New York for like over 10 years now. I'm coming a full Bills fan. The Ravens look pretty good. I'm just gonna follow Micah to Green Bay. I can't do
I'm
this
gonna follow the
anymore.
team that's in my hometown instead of the Cowboys, like I should have done
People
from the beginning.
are legitimately like there are pleading that season ticket holders give up their tickets, that people stop buying merchandise, that he wants people want that stadium empty on Sundays to really showcase an embarrassment. Because that's when I think they think Jerry Jones will actually
You know
start
what
listening when
sucks
it
for
hurts his
the? You know what
pockets.
makes this even worse? Jerry isn't a pariah in the NFL ownership circles like Dan Snyder was.
No, even he probably should be, but he's not.
He's
I'm
not.
sure he has some
But do you think the
skeletons.
other owners? I mean, I think right now the other owners they want to get rid of Snyder because he was pocketing money that he wasn't sharing.
Sure.
That was the impetus to remove him. Jerry, with his antics, does keep the NFL in the news, right?
Yeah, but no owners are gonna want him out. Like
That's the thing. That's why they're stuck with them.
to
You said
keep
that.
all the attention like and high scrutiny on the Cowboys while you can also like scam them
Did you
for
see
their
Kyle?
best
By the way,
players.
did you see Kyle Brandt's like 3 minute like rant on the Cowboys?
I saw part of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
He said that this what happened was their Super Bowl. He's like, because he's like is and he the way he talked about it, he's like, and he works for NFL Network. He says,
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
embarrassing. He's like, this is embarrassing that Jerry Jones, like, this is the best they're gonna get because we're not talking about the Eagles right now, the defending Super Bowl champions. We're not talking about the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. We're not talking about the Ravens with Lamar Jackson or the Bills with Josh Allen. We're talking about the stupid ass Cowboys executing on paper one of the worst trades we've ever seen in the history of the modern NFL. You know, because he's like because he's a senile old man.
He's right, man. He is 1,000%
He's like, this is what he
correct.
wants. He's like 8-part Netflix documentary.
Mhm, mhm. 100%, man.
You know what else
It's
had
this
8-part?
is
And I love that Cowboys fans were like trying to brag about that. Michael,
yeah.
you know who else had an 8-part Netflix documentary? Joe Exotic.
No, you're right, man. This is one of the most, like, head-scratching trades I've ever seen. Obviously, all the rumors were pointing up towards it, but I really didn't think it was actually
I
gonna
didn't believe it.
happen.
I think I said on the last show, I said like 10%, 15%, maybe. At first I had like less than one. Now I'm like,
Well,
oh
it's
crap,
also
maybe it's
like
like 15%.
they lowballed him. Like, Jerry came public with what contract they offered him. It was 40.5 million a year. John, Micah Parsons is not signing for less per year than TJ Watt. I don't know who he thinks he is. TJ Watt is like 31 years old and is starting his slow decline and just signed for 3 years at 41 million a year. What in your senile mind thought that Micah Parsons at 26 years old, trying to get his first extension post his rookie deal, was going to sign for less than that?
Yeah, you offer
Why
him
would you
like
think that?
yeah, like I would say
A
if
better, younger player was not going to get less money than what TJ Watt was given.
so this is so let's just talk about Micah Parsons himself as opposed to the teams and the impact. Micah Parsons is going from the circus of the Dallas Cowboys, a
Mhm.
daily circus. Like because what came out today was some of his teammates were not happy he had a podcast.
Like, okay, I'm sure.
Okay,
Like,
here's my point. The owner of the Dallas Cowboys basically lives a podcast every day of his life.
yeah.
And you play for
Yeah.
that team. That doesn't bother you? You're
Mhm.
bothered that one of your teammates does it?
Yeah, it's just
What happens to
it's
be the best
very
player on the team, by the way, Michael? This isn't like when Slay was doing his podcast and it was like he was one of the best players on the team, but no one said he was the best player on the Eagles.
he's the best player on the team that was, like, playing well too. Like, he wasn't playing poorly, you know? I get it. The podcast was a lot. It'd be really frustrating. I'm sh I'm sure as a
They
fan,
probably
and I
got pissed
guess
when
as
he
a
had
teammate.
Slay on his podcast. And you're like, why do you have an
No,
E?
but that's
Because they
not
have an
why they traded
inferiority
him.
complex now.
No,
That's the
that's not
thing.
why they didn't trade him because of his podcast. They traded him because
No, it's because
Jerry
you want to get
didn't
paid money. That's the excuses. That's the
they traded
excuse
him
they're
because
throwing out there.
it was an ego drive. It was a
Right.
Jerry Jones ego move that he didn't
I've
wanna
never seen Michael. I've never seen two sides so far apart in a contract before like this. He got
listen,
48 from Green Bay. They offered him 40.
do I think that I think he would have taken, like, 44. I really do. I just think the Cowboys never offered it. their big idea was, okay, instead of we'll give you the extra year, but for less per year, and you'll be happy with that extra year of security. When it's like it's kind of the opposite a little bit. Like players, they'll take that extra year, but it's like they don't want to look at themselves and be like, listen, I'm making less than this guy and this guy and this guy, and it's like I think the Packers just totally blew it out of the water. I think the Cowboys weren't close, and the Packers were like, "You know what? We're gonna offer him a deal where it's like no other team that could potentially trade for him will be interested in jumping it, and this is what we're throwing out there." And the agent took
Yeah,
it,
and the
and
big
that's what they
part of
took.
that trade was him agreeing to the contract. It
Yeah,
was
I
like
mean,
with
you had
AJ. It
to
was the
he
same thing
wasn't
with
getting
AJ. The
traded.
Eagles traded for him.
Yeah, he wasn't getting traded to play on, like, a one-year deal, basically. Yeah, no. But anyways, enough about that. We have briefly talk about the NFC East because I'm sure we'll talk about them plenty as the year
Should we
progresses.
let's just skip the Cowboys entirely?
Yeah, no, that was the
That was our
Cowboys.
Cowboy
The
talk. Let's talk
New
about
York
the New York
Giants.
Giants.
I look at I think Russell Wilson is definitely a lot more competent than Daniel Jones and is definitely better
I don't think
than
Russell
Daniel
Wilson plays a
Jones.
whole lot, to be honest.
That's potential. Um, the
I think they
Giants have
I
one of the
think they want to
hardest
see what they have
schedules.
in their shiny new toy in Jackson Dart.
Right, right, right. I think they're not I think it's smart they're not starting Dart out the gate because it's very like, if you start Jackson Dart week 1, and they have the hardest schedule in the league and some of the hardest 6 games to start the year. If they start Jackson Dart week 1 and they go 0-6, very, very easy to fire Brian Dable. Very, very, very easy to fire him if they start 0-6 and you threw your rookie quarterback in the wolves and he got absolutely destroyed. You start Russell Wilson and you go 0-6, and it's like, okay, time to make the switch. Here comes Jackson Dart to save the day. And odds are you're not going to start like 0-12, that sort of thing. So I think from a back of mind job security standpoint, it makes sense to start Wilson over Dart. And I think it just generally does too. I don't think Jackson Dart is really ready to go. I think we're going to see Russ for at least a month before Dart comes around. And Tyrone Tracy is like fine. Malik Neighbors is very, very,
He was
very
one of my
good.
dark horses to win Offensive Player of the Year, by the
Yeah,
way.
he's the volume is there. He's a machine. Their offensive line is still not great.
What else
The
is
the only thing to get excited for with them is their front four
It's their front
with
four. I think some guys in their secondary.
yeah, secondary's like fine to me, but like
They signed Javon Holland from the Dolphins.
yeah. And then
I
but
think
like
he's really good.
Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Okereke even as an inside guy, and like Dexter
Sexy
Lawrence.
Dexy. Yeah.
Those are that's
I
up
think
there.
I
Some of the
think
best in the
I
league.
think Thibodeau is like a lock to get moved at the deadline.
Sure. I think he's still good though. Like I think you can
It's because of his contract situation. They gave Burns a big contract. They signed Abdul Carter.
mhm.
Kayvon Thibodeau has been a polarizing player on the Giants since he's got there. Like there's when he's playing well, he's really good, right?
Yeah.
But he's also immature.
Sure. It's I think their defensive line, interior, well, front, pass rush is
Would you
very
like
good.
to hear my conspiracy theory with the Giants?
Yeah.
When you see reports that Kyle Shanahan and the Niners can't agree to an extension,
Mhm.
and the Niners aren't starting off so hot, I would be. This is if Kyle Shanahan were to leave the Niners because he wants to be the highest paid coach in the league.
Mhm.
He will be the head coach of the New York Giants in 2026.
Wow.
I
That
mean,
would be
Jackson Dart
very
just screams Shanahan quarterback to me, in my opinion. And he has weapons on offense, well, kind of. Like
yeah.
he needs a tight end, but that's not that difficult to. find, I suppose. Usually the good tight ends in the draft are usually like, they turn out to be good, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um uh, you brought up Dable. If they like 1-5, like Dable's in trouble. Like that's not like that like
Yeah. I
you
think
know,
it's a lot more in
Dable
trouble
Dable
if
screams like go back to being OC, fix a quarterback or something, and then goes back to be a head coach because the narrative will be he had a rough go with the Giants. He got screwed with the Giants because he was stuck with Daniel Jones for so long. You know,
Right, right.
you know.
Yeah. Alright, let's move on to the Commanders.
Oldest team in football, baby.
Oldest team in football by a lot. One of the oldest teams in football the oldest team in football the last 15 years or so. Um,
Yeah, because they would sign every old free agent.
yeah, they're old, man. They are an old, 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 old team. Their weapons are very old. Um, their depth chart at receiver is very light. They have their 3 guys and only keeping 5 receivers. Um, Jaden Daniels is very good, I think. I think he could be due for somewhat of a sophomore slump. I think that could be in store for sure. I don't want to say like absolute it's going to happen, but it could. Terry got paid. He was very good last year. I expect him to still be good. Debo, in theory, should be a really good fit, as I think he's better than De'Ami Brown and he'll be in that kind of De'Ami Brown role. But that's always concern if he's like totally, totally washed. Zach Ertz, it feels like when is the cliff coming with him? Is he going
Oh, is that a
to
pun with
listen? Zach Ertz really pissed me off last year. He did not have to go to the Commanders. He did not have to stay, and he had a great year. And I'll be honest, really bothered me. It was not fun watching that
he
at all.
hates Howie Roseman. He
Love
hates
Zach
him.
Ertz.
He
Love
hates
Zach
him.
Ertz. Absolutely hate what I had to watch from him last year, and I'll be honest, rooting for him to have a bad year. I will say that. Um, they got
I'm
Laramie
sorry, he
Tunsil.
hates Sirianni, not
Sure.
Howie. He hates Nick.
They got Laramie Tunsil to help out the offensive line, but again, aged. Um, Sam Cosmi is out for a while, so Allegretti will be playing in his place. Connerly should be playing soon, right? He's not the starter, but there's a chance. The first round pick out of Oregon.
I mean, the big thing is Bill Krosky Merritt. That's the big
Yeah,
name.
is he actually good? The running back room is like Austin Eckler, who is very, very ancient, and then this Jacory slash Bill Krosky Merritt. Is he going to
Well,
be any
Michael, the
good?
Commanders had so many one-score games last year where they were very fortunate to win, right?
Yeah, dude. Like their schedule, a lot of one score games, and their
Last place
record.
schedule.
Yeah, and their record against playoff teams last year. The only playoff teams, the only playoff team that they beat was uh, us.
Eagles.
The only playoff team they
And
beat
we
was
know
us
all
with
the
Kenny
things that
Pickett.
had to go into that for them to win.
Exactly. They played Tampa Bay in the regular season and lost. The Bengals win was a nice win, but the Bengals ended up being bad. They lost to Baltimore, lost to Pittsburgh. They just didn't, and they didn't play a lot of playoff teams, but they couldn't beat any of them in the regular season. And they won. We know how many fluky wins they had. The Hail Mary against the Bears, the Giants game where the Giants didn't have a kicker, and then another really tight Giants game that they won. They won that Saints game in overtime that was ridiculous. Or sorry, not in overtime, but at the very end that was ridiculous. Um, they beat Atlanta in overtime, which was also like they had a lot of pretty absurd wins, one score wins against like not amazing teams. And then you look at what they're at this year. Their first 4 games are not too difficult. Home against the Giants, Two, like they're fine. Like at Green Bay week 2 Thursday night. That's going to be an awesome game that everyone's going to be excited to watch. Then they go play the Raiders at home. The Raiders, they could be pretty frisky if some people, high on Geno. Then they go to Atlanta, then they play the Chargers, then the Bears again, at Dallas. Like it just there's stretches that do get tough. Um, but their schedule, I don't know. I don't know. I'm seeing wow. Cowboys tickets are cheap, 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 man. I'm looking at the ESPN schedule and they have like tickets as low as and whatever price. Tickets as low as $47 for the Cowboys Commanders at Cowboys game. How about that?
How
Coach
about
Micah
that?
Parsons.
So, Michael,
So yeah,
may I?
go ahead.
So, I kind of want to talk about with the Commanders real quick. My thing is a lot of people entering the offseason thought the Commanders were going to be Super Bowl favorites out of the NFC because we look at Dan Quinn's body of work with the Falcons, right?
Yeah.
The second year they took the massive jump, right?
Mhm.
I just pulled up that Falcons team. Michael, they had Julio Jones. Matt Ryan was the MVP. They had Devontae Freeman was a solid player. He wasn't spectacular, but like they had a two-headed rushing attack with him and if you remember Tevin Coleman. They
Of
had
course.
Mohamed Sanu as well, who was a solid receiver, right? But like and on
Was the
defense, then they got
defense
defense.
felt better.
Vic Beasley had 15 and a half sacks. Dion I don't know. Do you remember Dion Grant? He was a first team All Pro. Like
Yeah.
point being, like the Commanders really didn't do what people thought they were going to do in the offseason, which was go buck wild in free agency and sign
No,
a
they
bunch
spent a
of guys.
lot of money to Javon Kinlaw, which I didn't think was a
Yeah, like
great
we all kind of thought they might have just would have broken the bank on like Milton Williams.
right. And they went and they got Von Miller, which
They
like
cheaped out on doing that to sign Javon Kinlaw, Grant
right.
Cohn's favorite Niner, if you remember.
Yeah. It just they went and got they got Marshawn Lattimore at the deadline last year, and like he wasn't very good for them. Von Miller's very, very old. Bobby Wagner is very, 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 very old. Javon Kinlaw is getting a lot of money, and he's not very good. It just feels like they had an opportunity to like kind of get younger, like kind of align your weapons and core with how old your rookie quarterback is, and instead
You
they
know
just
what
went
my
the other
take on this
direction.
Commanders team is, Michael? This is my take. They are. It's like if the 2022 Giants had a way better quarterback.
Sure, like to me, I said this when they got Debo. I said this when they got Tunsil. It's like they're going all in with their rookie quarterback, where it's like the by the time the the problem is you do want to try to win when your quarterback's on a rookie deal. That's like kind of been the status quo in the NFL since like 20 like 15 or 6 since like just the the teams that won that was not Tom Brady, the way to do it was to win while your quarterback is on a rookie deal. And the Eagles did it with Foles. Rams went to a Super Bowl with Goff on his rookie deal. That just was to be competitive. The Chiefs early in their dynasty, that sort of thing. The Commanders seem to be taking that like super, super seriously, but they're still not going about it in the right way. What are they going to look like when his rookie contract is up and it's time to pay him 60 million a year, basically? And you look around and you're like, okay, Terry is 34 and a free agent. Debo is 35 and a free agent. Zach Ertz is retired. So that's your three. Those are your three best weapons to begin with in 2025 that are going to be
They
in their
well,
mid
Michael,
30s
they're
or
gonna follow
retired.
the Niners model of trading draft picks for big name players.
But like the Niners drafted really well. The Niners when
Fred
you know
Warner, Bosa.
yeah But it's also like Brandon Ayuk, young and Debo. Like they got when they had Garoppolo and we're trying to win with that, and then
The
trying to
thing,
win with
yeah,
Purdy. It's like Debo was there on his rookie deal.
Lenore,
You know,
yeah,
the Ayuk was there on his rookie deal. Jawan Jennings was there on his rookie deal.
Greenlaw,
Like they went all in on McCaffrey, who age-wise made sense. He was in his prime. The Eagles went and acquired AJ Brown. They didn't go acquire some Keenan Allen. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
they got guys
No,
where when it
Michael,
was time to pay
I
Jalen,
agree with you, man. I completely agree with you. If they were to like not be ultra competitive, it would behoove them to just blow this year and then maybe get creative in the
No,
draft.
but you can't do that when you make the conference championship. You can't sit on your hands. But I think
They're going to need Dan Quinn to have another coaching masterclass, basically.
they would have been better off just trying to acquire younger weapons and younger talent. And if you don't go back to the conference championship, but you still make the playoffs and whatever, it's not the super end of the world because you're going about it the right way. You're building your team the right way. Just because you overshot your bounds in your first year of the rebuild, just because you made the conference championship doesn't mean you need to be in the conference championship every single year or it's an utter failure to the point where your team building strategy is like it's intentionally not sustainable. Like it is intentionally like, okay, we're doing this for the next 2 years. And if it doesn't work out in the next 2 years, we're going to have to restart, but we're going to also have to pay our rookie quarterback a shit ton of money. So, we'll see.
Okay. Oh
We've
boy,
talked a lot
Eagles.
about the Eagles.
Um,
Lot of cues on their
a lot of
depth chart.
captains.
A lot of captains, a lot of cues on the offensive side of the ball. Everyone seems fine though. AJ, Smitty, Goddard, Mailata, Dickerson, even and like Dickerson being the least fine, is
Dickerson's
practicing and
practicing
stuff.
though.
Yeah, yeah. So it feels like they're going to be all hands on deck for the opener, which is good. The only player that's injured that might not actually play is Makuba, as he still hasn't practiced yet. But otherwise, all the offensive guys are going to be there. They reacquired Fred Johnson, which I thought was really nice. I like that a lot better as their swing tackle. Um, acquired Willie Lampkin, center on the IR that could be a Jeff Stoutland little fun project. All this to talk around, I guess. Well, the receivers, John Mechie acquisition made the team. Darius Cooper made the team. Johnny Wilson on IR. Listen, the Eagles, did they get worse from last year?
Yes.
Sure. Is it like
Well, maybe.
substantially? Yeah, it's like probably, I think is the right answer. But is it like significant? Not particularly. I think they're expecting a lot out of their young players that showed a lot in their playoff run and stretch run. Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, they're expecting them to continue to ascend as very good edge players. They want Moro Jomo to take over that Milton Williams role pretty seamlessly. They asked and have received Jordan Davis slimming down so he can be more of a factor in the pass rushing sector. They have drafted over the last couple of years potential, insurance for Nakobe Dean, who's going to be out on the pup list for a few weeks with Trotter and Jahad Campbell. They acquired a lot of depth with Ojulare, Gabe Hall, Okoronkwo, Uche. I listen, man. I have to be confident. We have some question marks with the if Sidney Brown has to play over Makuba and the corner opposite of Quinyon.
It's going to be a George Pickens deep touchdown where Sidney Brown gets totally like he screws something up, and then
Hmm.
it's going to be Makuba time because Vic
I think.
Fangio, Vic
Listen, I think
Fangio is
Makuba
not.
would play if he was healthy. I
I
don't
would
think he's
agree.
healthy.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I do think with Fangio, he's patient to wait for guys to get healthy. But if you just blow, like you will be removed. Like look at
Yeah.
Bryce Huff.
Bryce Huff, perfect example, absolutely. Offensively, they look the same as last year, man. Like, it's just everyone's
Well,
here.
Michael, here's the thing though. When you have these teams that are consistently really good, they bring back like the same key guys, like they just win 11, 12, 13
I mean,
games
just
every
10 of
year.
their starters are gonna be the same with the exception of, Mekhi Becton being replaced by Tyler Steen, who, we've been hesitant on, but it seems like internally they're very confident in him, and they seem from what I'm hearing, it sounds like he got better from last year to this year. And, when you have one offensive lineman who is, like, objectively just not as good as the other 4 guys, but the other 4 guys are as elite as they are, you can really do a lot to cover up, that deficiency. And I expect them to be just as good. They have a really hard schedule, but there's not gonna be there's not gonna be any games where they're not the better team on paper. They're gonna be favored in most games. They deserve to be. I'm high on them. I'm expecting them to win at least 12 games, and be back in the mix for February.
I'm going to say this: the biggest question mark on the Eagles, and no one's really brought this up at all. I think it's Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, because we saw in 2023 what happened when Brian Johnson was promoted to the offensive coordinator spot. And it
Mhm.
turns out Brian Johnson probably should just be the quarterback's coach. He's a
Sure.
quarterback's coach with Washington. He did a great job with Jaden Daniels.
Right.
But when it comes to scheme, you saw back when he was coaching at Florida with Anthony Richardson, of all people. People thought Anthony Richardson was bad at Florida for his first year because they were literally calling the exact offense you saw with the 2023 Eagles.
Right.
So, yes, um, Kevin Patullo, though, never really been a positions coach. He's always been like the quality control. Like, I guess he's been like the scheme guy, right? He's the guy, who notices things and is like, oh, we should, in this play, we should have Devontae run a crosser and then we'll have like Jahan run like an out, or you know what I mean? Like that was
Sure,
his role,
sure.
right? Now he's going to call the offense, but he's been in this offense though, dating back to when Sirianni was on the Colts. So it's not like it's foreign to him. I think the concern, and we kind of can all agree that Nick Sirianni's probably his biggest weakness is that he's not the schematic wizard of like a Kevin O'Connell or a McVay or a Shanahan
Shanahan,
or
yeah.
a McDaniel. However,
Or
at the same
yeah.
time, like you heard the story though, AJ Brown sort of like spilled this, and people are kind of giving crap over it because it's like you're making Patullo look kind of bad, but it's more of a compliment to Jalen Hurts. He's like, this is Jalen's offense. Like Jalen wants to do something, like we're all gonna do it. It's not like a CJ Stroud situation where he's not allowed to do certain things.
No, and listen, Jason Kelsey ran the protections for a long time for this organization, and in Jalen's first year without him calling his own protections and whatnot, it was his best season against the blitz. Not a slight on Jason Kelsey, but more of just like a maybe the quarterback who is as prepared pre-snap as anybody in the league and is probably the best pre-snap as anybody in the league as Jalen Hurts is. Maybe we should just kind of trust what he is seeing and what he knows and studying film and whatnot. So yeah, I think there's reason to be optimistic. I think that Patullo can work really well with Jalen. Being together for the last handful of seasons. I think there's a legitimate reason to believe that the offense will not be as frustrating as it was in 2023. And even as frustrating as it was in 2023, if you replace Swift with Saquon, they probably win 13 games. It's just kind of like definitely. Like
Brian
it just
Johnson keeps his job.
That like I'm John, I'm not even kidding you. Like they don't lose to Seattle. They don't lose to the Giants. Um, there there were games that they lost that they probably just straight up do not lose if Saquon is in there instead of Swift. But anyways,
Let's do
let's get to
the
the picks.
let's
We
do
have 2
week.
games.
Should we call this week 0 because like week
No, it's
one
week 1. It's week
we're not
1. We
picking the
have
full slate. We're only picking 2 games. Next week's the full slate.
yeah. Yeah, we have the 2 games that be we will have seen by the time we do our next show. Thursday, the opener, Cowboys at Eagles, and Friday in Brazil again, the Chiefs at Chargers. It's a Chargers home game they're taking away. Um, I guess we'll start with Chiefs Chargers. Chiefs are 3-point favorites. I just think the Chargers, they're way too hurt for me. No Rashawn Slater is like killer. Having and you gotta like move Joe Alt to left tackle, and then you gotta put in another guy at right tackle. It's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, but Harbaugh has done a good job.
Is there bad karma due for Harbaugh as well?
I would say Harbaugh. I don't know, man, because people said when Carroll left to go to the Seahawks, there was going to be tons of bad karma, and now Pete Carroll's a Hall of Fame coach. So I don't really buy into that a whole lot.
I'm gonna believe in a little bit of karma here. I'm taking Kansas City.
No,
I
stop.
just think that I mean the Chiefs are just better
Really,
than
the
the
Chiefs don't have
Chargers.
an issue. Their best receiver is suspended for 6 games.
Yeah, but like there's some sort of
Like,
punishment. Even if it's pretty weak, there's punishment. What did Jim
oh,
Harbaugh get
stop
punished?
it! Stop! We're
Are they gonna
okay.
invalidate their
Where's the? Let me get.
championship?
Hold on. Where's the sound thing again? Let me pull this up here.
Are they gonna invalidate
I've been waiting all
is
show to do this. By the way,
Is Michigan gonna lose their championship? No. So they're just gonna get
no.
fined
This is where the
millions
bad
of
karma
dollars.
is. All the people, all those like 15-year-old like morons on Twitter that are like Justin Herbert, Justin Herbert, Justin Herbert, Justin Herbert, and then Justin Herbert goes out in this game, and the Chiefs win in typical Chief. They chief it up, Michael. It's like legit garbage for 59 minutes, and it's like literally 13-7 Chiefs. And it's like you're gonna look at it, and then we're gonna sit here and we're gonna be like, oh, like you mean to tell me Justin Herbert couldn't organize the freaking Chargers to score more than 13 points to win this game?
So you're taking the Chiefs -3? Do you think this year
You know what? You know what, Michael? I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs because I'm going to see them. They're going to charger it up. We're going to see Najee Harris play
Yeah,
like
what's
garbage.
more inevitable? The
Is Najee
chief it
Harris going
up.
to play?
I
Yeah,
don't
well,
know.
he
The
he
chief it
he
up
pulled a
is like
JPP and hurt himself with fireworks.
yeah. I wonder if the Chiefs are gonna have a similar, at least start to the year, like without Rice, as they did like all last year, all those one score, all those like miraculous seeming victories. Yeah, it'll be interesting. But I am taking Kansas City. The opener. The opener for the entire league,
Can I? Okay.
hosted by the Super Bowl
The
champions.
Eagles are 7.5 point favorites now.
7.5. It's moved.
Everybody's hammering the over on this game. By the way, I
Yeah,
could
which
see the
like
under. I could see the under personally.
I mean, usually it's like
Because if the Eagles win this game 41-0, it technically it doesn't go over.
well, it goes under.
It
Yeah,
doesn't go over.
yeah,
I'm kidding. I don't think that's going to happen.
yeah.
Michael, this is kind of like in terms of Dallas Cowboy embarrassment, right? We talked
Mhm.
all day today about narratives. Like, wouldn't the narrative be like this is going to be like Jerry Jones getting humiliated on national television? Because then, can't you see the flood of tweets happening? Why did they not pick the Chiefs, Eagles, Chiefs? Why did they not pick
Oh, as an
Bills?
opponent. Well, it could have
Eagles,
been. Well, you
Bills.
look at the home teams. It could have been. It
Why
could
did
have
they pick
been.
the Vikings? Why
It could
didn't
have been the
they pick
Lions.
the
Well, I mean,
Rams?
it could have been the Lions. Could have been the Rams. Could have been the Commanders. Could have been the Bears. Even like those were the teams. And no, for sure. Yeah,
Jerry
I think
Jones
it's just a big
politic
narrative ball.
for them to play the Eagles opening the season. I don't
I
think
agree.
Jeffrey Lurie went to Roger Goodell when he had his speech about the tush push, says, "Oh, and by the way, let's play Dallas week 1." No.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
by the way, because Jerry Jones was the biggest pusher, or pardon the pun, proponent of probably banning the tush push because he didn't want to see the Eagles benefit from it. You don't think the Eagles, with impunity, if they get in any short yardage situation, regardless of the down,
John, they might run it they might run on the opening play just to do it. 1st and 10 from the 30. Pick up a 2. Like they might just do it. No, but I do feel like the Eagles, like there's a part of me that's like, this game could be close. But I really do think
I
the
mean, you
Eagles.
saw Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl. He wanted,
Right.
they wanted to humiliate Kansas City. I
Like
think
the Eagles.
Sirianni wisely called off the dogs. I think wisely he did that because we got to play Kansas City again next year, and you don't want to, give them extra motivation in a game,
Sure, I guess. I just think
But I think,
Sirianni's
and
got
I think
respect for Andy Reid. But I think that, I think if this game is close, it's because the Eagles play kind of like garbage. Like, it's
I agree. It
really
would
like,
be
they would have to, like, be awful blocking against the run, and, like, Jalen would have to turn the ball over, and the defense would have to be, like,
well.
really working out the
This is
kinks.
big, Michael.
It would honestly, John, it would look like the Brazil game last year where they don't tackle well. Like, it would be pretty ugly. Um, but I can't see the Packers or the Packers. I can't see the Cowboys stopping the run at all, and I see in
This
my
is going to be
visions
the first
deep
time since
balls to Brown and
2013
Smitty.
the Dallas Cowboys have not had Zach Martin open up the season as their starting guard.
Yeah, man, like, I think it's gonna be a demolition. I'm taking the Eagles -7.5.
I'm going to take the Eagles -7. The Dallas Cowboys. So this is going to be. So this is another thing I'm going to bring up. This is Brian Schottenheimer's first game as the Dallas Cowboys head coach.
Mhm.
Do you know that the Cowboys defensive coordinator is?
It's Eberflus.
Yeah,
Matt
Matt Eberflus.
Eberflus. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, the same coach where like Caleb Williams after
Disaster.
that disaster went to the owner before she passed away. Please, Gam, please fire Eberflus. Get this terrorist
Literally.
out of here.
Yeah. Well, this was a hefty show.
This was a very hefty show.
We had to get a lot in before the season started, but
Right,
we are
we
back.
did.
We are back.
Michael, we're gonna be able to actually talk fully about we could talk about baseball glowingly, and then we're gonna talk about the Eagle game,
Yeah, listen, man.
and then we're gonna talk about the
By
rest
next
of the games.
show, we could be like over the moon by next show. The Phillies have a tough stretch. They've 4 against the Braves here. They've already taken the first 2. They go to Milwaukee for 3 before while the opener is going on and whatever. They're in. Well, they play. We'll be watching part of Phillies Brewers in the parking lot a little bit. And
Ooh,
then they're gonna be in Miami for week 1, which feels like that's like a staple at this point. They're in Miami to start the NFL season. So, listen, we could be talking next week about the Phillies if they handle business against Atlanta, they show up against the Brewers, and the Eagles take care of business. We could be over the moon next week talking about the
yeah,
rest
it
of
would
week
be.
1.
I would like the narrative to be okay. Like we can't win in City
We'll
Field,
never lose anything.
but
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Well, that's our show. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.